People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, in today's episode, we have one of today's top dentists. Although her office is in Solana Beach, California, she has also been a part of a mobile dental clinic that took her skills to underprivileged areas and provided dental service there. You might be wondering why we have a dentist from California on our podcast. It's because she's in production of her new TV show on JUL-TV, which will be airing soon, called Dr.Sarah. So everybody, it's Sarah Belderes. Woo! Hey, how are you?
Thanks for having me. That's pretty cool.
Well, hey, you're part of the family now. Welcome to the JUL-TV family. This is awesome.
Well, we have a lot in common. I think we both pull off magic tricks, that's for sure. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, I don't know. You don't do card tricks though, but man, what you do, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. If I see a little prick of blood, I freak out.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I do a lot of, you're way more cool than I am, that's for sure. But I will say when I'm trying to make something look like something or match a color or a contour or how to make it look real pretty, I'm trying to pull off a lot of optical illusions. So I think we have a few things in common, for sure.
Well, before we get into all the cool different things that you guys offer and do, how'd you get started in it? I know the art has a little bit to do with it, but how'd you get started with your love of dentistry?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. So I was super lucky and fortunate in that I have an uncle who is a retired pediatric dentist. So he just treats children, or just did before he retired. And he just was such a great influence to me. I always loved science and I always loved art. And dentistry is kind of the perfect combination of that. You got to really like people. You got to be able to help people to trust you very quickly. That's probably the hardest part. The science and art, you just kind of have the skill and you fine-tune the skill over years and years and years. But being able to relate to somebody and make them feel comfortable, I would say is the most important part. So yeah, I'm going to say always loved science, always loved art. And then my uncle just kind of showed me what a great dentist was, and I wanted to be like him.
So what did the pediatric dentist office look like? Did it have any cool bells and whistles for little kids, or was it just a dentist office?
Just a dentist office. The only real difference in a pediatric dental office is that there's a lot more, the chairs are kind of more of a community feel. So kids really feed off of other kids knowing things are okay.
Right.
And so when they kind of walk in and they see the other kid getting it done and everybody's having a good time and there's TVs on the ceiling and all those good things, it just feels natural to them and doesn't keep it in kind of a scary or weird environment. And then, so I think that's kind of the biggest difference. Sometimes there's smaller chairs for little kids to kind of fit in so they feel more comfortable, like it's a place just meant for them.
Yeah. I want a TV on the ceiling.
Right?
Yeah, we don't have that at our dentist office. No.
Oh, you got to get the TV on the ceiling.
I
It's
know.
a big ticket item. It makes it all go by. They're watching Netflix. We're getting our business done, and they just sit up and ready to go.
I have a new suggestion for my dentist next time I go visit.
I just usually put in earbuds and just listen to a podcast. I feel rude, but I'm bored because that person isn't talking to me. I don't know. We have a new dentist. We moved 2.5 years ago, and we have a new dentist that's local, and there is no bells and whistles. It's just cattle. It's not fun.
It's a normal dentist office, honey.
But I want my doctors, I want my dentists to be my friends. Be happy to see me, talk. Hey, how are you? How are you doing? How's your mom? What it used to be. And it's not that way anymore.
They talk to me. They asked me, because I was pregnant one time with twins, and the next time she was talking to me about the twins and everything else. And
I don't know.
There you go.
See, you put your earphones in way too early, I guess.
Are you still there?
I think we just lost her.
Hold on, we just
get her back.
What the heck?
Hey, yeah,
hey,
that's all right. We got you back.
See how rude dentists can be sometimes? They just hang
know,
up
right?
on you. They ignore you. No. So So anyway, and it might just be me being paranoid because I had panic attacks in high school, and my dad owned a video store, so I was one of those poster children of what not to do because my dad would just give me money for the vending machines in the video store. So I would eat handfuls of hot tamales all day and just drink sodas all day, watching movies for an 8-hour shift. So
nice.
I was always getting cavities. That was my babysitter, right? So I was always getting cavities, and then I hit high school and I had panic attacks, and that that messed up my teeth as well, and it's been awful. So yeah, it hasn't been good.
It's not fun. I mean, you kind of like stumbled onto two different parts there that are so important. I will say, in my office and a ton of my colleagues, what brings us a lot of joy is actually knowing patients over the years. So kind of how you guys were saying, where like we know your stories, we know when you had kids, when you don't. I could give you a list of all the people I know that had kids over the last year, or the times I'm sitting there crying with my patient because a loved one is dying. We get to see all of your little moments, usually 6 months apart, and they tend to be your big moments, like what you say to us when we say, hey, how's it been going?
Yeah.
It's usually the big ticket items. So we kind of see those little snapshots over time. And it's really, that's what keeps most of us dentists kind of going, is that we get to be there for parts of those for you guys. Because other than that, I mean, honestly, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for 20 years.
Right.
So although there's a lot of new advances, and boy, could I go into that as far as what we do differently and better and all that good stuff, the truth is I'm still doing dentistry. But the fun part is, oh my gosh, you're getting married. Oh my goodness, you're having a baby. You know, all those little things along the way.
Yeah. And I think also what gives me more chance to talk is I'm the one that takes our oldest daughter to the dentist as well. And usually it's the same person that I go to is seeing her at the same time. So I get to talk more. And I don't put earbuds in. So.
Well, there is that. I mean, that does make it a little bit more challenging for us to have a conversation.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Do they teach you in school how to talk with fingers in your mouth and all that stuff? How does that work?
There's a few jokes that kind of go from there. So usually when that happens, when somebody goes, gosh, you don't let me actually say anything, I always tease. I go, well, yeah, now you know how I can't argue because I'm used to me talking, the person laying there with their mouth open, not replying. So I don't really know how to have a two-way conversation. But yes, I could probably understand what Ozzy Osbourne is saying pretty well. I'm used to hearing people with cotton rolls in their mouth talking to me, so I can decipher pretty good.
So is dentistry different where you are? And how do you say it? Solana Beach? Is it? I imagine it is near LA, and everybody's coming in to get everything pearly white veneers. This is a normal dentist office, though. This isn't Make Me Hollywood ready.
Yeah, so I would consider my office is, I'm going to say we're a little bit more of like a beachy feel, but definitely more of a, what we call kind of couture dentistry in the sense that you really do know everybody that works there. There would not be a different dentist when you go in, and we do a comprehensive approach. Our job is, I've kind of teased over the years, I've become almost more of a health coach. My job is to kind of figure out how to keep you smiling, not having things hurt, be able to eat whatever you want to eat, whether it's on the right side or the left, or it's hot or it's cold. You should be able to enjoy your food, smile, talk without thinking about something hurting you or scratching you. And teeth are huge. The mouth is full of bacteria. So really, when I say I'm a health coach, it's finding ways to where if you're taking care of your mouth, your heart is better, your insulin levels are better, your overall physical approach to life is going to give you some longevity. So I really do kind of, I hope, inspire people to smile more and inspire them to just take care of their physical bodies for as long as they can.
Wow, that's good. That's good, though.
Yeah, that's the hope.
So, in your bio, it said that you did the mobile dentistry thing. How was that?
It was super cool. So I am gosh, I've got a love of philanthropy. So that's pretty important to me. It'll actually be kind of a part of what we're hoping to show on the show, which is kind of inspiring other people to smile and donating your time, and also how you really get fulfilled and smile more by helping other people. So the Mobile Dental Clinic, which is through the University of Southern California, or USC, many dental schools have them. They have imagine a really large RV, and you took everything out of the inside and you put dental chairs in it. And we would drive into a smaller community where there's really not accessible dentistry. And on Mondays, diagnose, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you pick a different section of the mouth and you get it fixed up so that kids can be healthy, not be in pain. One of the number one reasons why kids miss school is actually from cavities and from tooth pain. So
wow.
if we can kind of jump ahead of that and make sure they're not in tooth pain, they're not missing school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what?
I didn't know that.
I'd never heard of anybody calling out. I mean, I guess they would lie. I just wasn't feeling good. That's what they would say. I've never heard of anybody calling out because of tooth pain.
Yeah. It is definitely one of the number one reasons why kids miss school.
But when when your tooth hurts, it's yeah.
You can't ignore it.
Right.
It's, yeah.
You can't just go to school. You got to get the visit, and then it's an emergency visit, and then they're out of school for the visit, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, pretty important.
Do you have any lifelong memories from that working at the mobile dentistry thing?
You know what? I do, and I would actually say one of my favorite memories was just the gratitude of those kids. So imagine as a child that you walked in at your school. Most often we were on a school campus. And a child was walking in very commonly with a language barrier. I've got no assistant. There's no TVs on the ceiling here.
Yeah.
And they're walking in and they're putting all their faith in me. And they're doing it on one day, then the next day, then the next day, then the next day. And they're just sitting down and they know that what they're getting done is going to make them feel better. And that is, that's pretty awesome. It definitely makes you realize, one, we all have in us what we need to do in order to feel better. We can kind of dive into our, set things aside and be like, no, this is what's going to make me feel better. I can do it. And then it also just gave me the perspective that I can do that I can help people, that my own hands can make somebody feel better it's powerful, for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And taking away somebody's pain. If somebody has tooth pain and you're able to take it away, that's pretty awesome.
Right?
So in your bio, it said that you had cognitive behavioral psychology. Is that something you studied in school, or what is that? Or is that just something you've taken on yourself?
I guess what that's really referencing, one is just some different studies that I did when I'm going to fix an earbud here while I'm talking to you real quick. So some of my studies in college, as far as trying to, and also in dental school, as far as hypnosis, relaxation techniques, anxiety techniques. How can you build rapport with a patient? How can you help them? Like I said, trust me in 5 minutes that I'm going to make the best decisions I can for them, and I'm going to do everything in my power not to cause them any discomfort. Obviously there's many times, unfortunately, there is discomfort. I'll do the best I can, but that they can really kind of lower their anxiety so their body can heal and they can trust me. I was lucky enough. I've been raised by a mother who's a therapist, a stepfather who's a psychologist. I got a wonderful dad too. He's not a psychologist, and a wonderful stepmom. But they really kind of helped me understand more how much our kind of brain can help us to heal from things, and also how to be able to sit comfortably and make an experience better. So my job as a dentist, when somebody leaves, I'm not looking for, oh my gosh, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I had a blast. I mean, I'm not going to a magic show here. So my goal though is that they leave and they go, that wasn't that bad. And that to me is actually an A+. If you walk out and say that wasn't that bad, I did my job. Because it's not a great fun thing for people to get done, but I can try to make it better is the key. Yeah, so hopefully that's what I can do on a daily basis. I'm hoping so.
Well, if you'd have told me that you used hypnosis to put people at ease, I'm the biggest skeptic in the world when it comes to that, because I am a magician. I've seen hypnosis stage shows. I've been a part of them, and, you know, but I have a friend of mine. He's Scotty Scafidi. He just passed away during COVID. He was an eye surgeon, and he used hypnosis, medical hypnosis, to actually cut open a kid's eye that had a needle in his eyeball. And he said the kid was too young. It was too much of an emergency to sedate him and all this stuff. And he just calmed the kid down and, you know, you say hypnotize, but it's whatever. And he was able to do eye surgery on somebody, or tooth surgery. I mean, that's some serious stuff. That's not some carnival trick. That's pretty amazing.
Well, and some of it's on patients. I mean, I could give a list of people who they have learned their own personal relaxation techniques. They have learned how to self-hypnotize. They have learned how to do things. And honestly, and as a dentist, there's many times I go, oh, please don't. Oh, come on. Just let me get you done. Let me do my exact protocol. I know what to do. I know how to keep you comfortable. And they'll say, I don't want it. I don't want anesthetic. I promise you I will be comfortable, and I will sit still, and I will do what I need to do. So, I don't know. The brain's a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah, wow. I'm the opposite of that. I'm saying, you sure you give me enough? Can you give me a little more?
I'm a big fan of, I'm like, let me get you as numb as you need to be to make sure you never feel a thing.
Yeah.
That's really the key. Yeah.
Wow. Well, implants, and tell me about Invisalign. I know about Invisalign, but I don't know. Are you able to take it in and out? Tell me about it.
Yes, so Invisalign can come in and out. It's like orthodontics or braces. It's moving the teeth to the proper position. Well, we actually know about teeth, couple big factors. You want your teeth in the right position because you will be able to, one, brush them better, keep them cleaner the straighter they are. And also the force, the amount of bite pressure that comes down on a muscle, on a tooth. I mean, you can cause fractures, breaking teeth, wearing down teeth, recession on teeth, just based on the tooth not being in its proper position. So it's kind of like if you had a house and, it wasn't stable, and all day long you're banging on one corner of it, that corner's all going to break down. You've got to have things stable and have the bite correct. So Invisalign goes in and out. You wear it, 20 to 22 hours out of the day. Take it out whenever you're eating or drinking. And every week or every 2 weeks, you're placing in a new tray. And by small changes in each tray, the tooth is being moved into its new spot.
Okay. Is that like what you had? Did you have
No, I had regular braces.
But you had some kind of clear guard to wear at nighttime or something.
That was my retainer, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, I tell you, yeah. I had a clear retainers, and my orthodontist was like, this is good, and you wear these, and then it cracked, and I called them back a couple of years later, and they were like, oh, you should be fine not to wear it anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I have, apparently that was wrong, I learned years later. And I have one tooth on the bottom that has gone crooked. But beyond that, everything has stayed straight.
We lost her again.
So, anyway.
Hey. My silly earbuds are about ready to drive me nuts.
Aww.
Well, you missed it. She has one crooked tooth. I think that's all you missed.
Well,
yep, that's
we
it.
We gotta get her one crooked tooth fixed, don't we?
Well, at this point, I've tried putting my retainers in again, and it's it doesn't work anymore. So
it's pretty amazing how much teeth will want to move back. So one thing that people don't really know, it tends to always be those lower front teeth, and they're the smaller teeth. They're more circular. So the pressure of your muscle all the way in the back is kind of, every time you're chewing and functioning, it's bringing force towards the midline or the center of your mouth. And so those little guys in the front, they just kind of buckle out of the way unless they are really, really stabilized, and they've been kind of in their position for a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, retainers are a lifelong thing.
Yep, that's not what they told me when I asked if I could get a new, because it cracked, and it wasn't, it wasn't doing its job because it was cracked. And, they said, well, you should be done with them. I was like, oh, I didn't know this. I was still wearing them, several times a week at nighttime. And so I just have, just like I said, one tooth on the bottom. And if you notice, my mom has the same crooked tooth. My grandma had the same crooked tooth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's just that one right there. The rest are still, straight. Probably not as straight as what they were when I had my braces taken off. But, just looking at them, I think they look pretty good.
There you go.
So,
there you go. As long as you're smiling, that's all that matters.
Yep.
Oh, she's got great teeth. She goes in the dentist office, and they're like, oh, yeah, you're good. Here's your cleaning. Goodbye. And then when I get my paperwork, I'm like, yeah, I got to come back next week. I have a cavity here and this here, and they want to look at this one. And it's like, I kind of got a list of projects to work on.
Right, there's a lot of them in there. I mean, there's a lot of teeth in general. So in our mouths. So, it's to imagine even if a few of them have something going on average, most of us are walking around with 28 of them in there. So,
yeah. So one or two here and there.
Yeah,
nothing so bad, right?
No, it's bad.
Right,
It's bad.
Here
It's
there.
bad. So when you do you do the anesthetic work? I mean, you don't do sedation dentistry, do you?
So I don't. I should say I do forms of sedation. So for our anxious patients who need kind of a little extra help, sometimes we'll diagnose or give them a Valium to take the night before, or an anti-anxiety to take the night before, get a good night's sleep, and then take it an hour before dental treatment. There's also nitrous oxide, which is really helpful for patients as well, and that kind of just calms everything. And for almost all procedures, that's more than enough. But there is still also kind of other levels up, which is kind of bigger forms of sedation. Most of that is reserved for when we're doing kind of bigger oral surgery cases. Or if I've got real big cases, then we actually will team up with dental anesthesiologists, and they'll come in. That way they can be in charge of the patient, making sure that they're nice and safe while we're doing the dental work. They're making sure they're comfortable. So dentistry, you got it all the way from nothing to quite a bit in order to make sure that it's, it's as good as it can get and keep somebody as comfortable as they can.
Yeah.
Which I love sedation. I think it works really well, but I also am a huge fan of kind of retraining the brain. Doing maybe baby steps as far as like, okay, if there was a horrible experience as a child, how can I kind of overcome and help you to learn again that it's not always like that? I tend to tell people it actually means you're really smart if your head tells you to turn around and run the other direction, because you obviously had a bad experience. And if your brain let you do every stupid thing twice, boy, would you be in trouble. So it means your brain's doing a job when it says, please don't do that again. But that being said, I can also help reteach the brain that it doesn't always have to hurt, and it doesn't always have to be a big deal. And all the things your brain is telling you, we can help to retrain it.
Well, I mean, I haven't been injured the past 12 visits, but I had one. Yeah. I had one and I'm not trying to tell horror stories, but I mean, we're talking dentist stuff. I'm talking dentist stuff. I had a major cavity, which was in one of my back teeth, and I think the right side. And when the dentist was drilling, he broke the tooth in half, and the tool went into my gums, and he couldn't pull the tool out, so he just disconnected it and sent me an old girlfriend. They had to make an appointment to get an oral surgeon to get the whole tooth removed and his little tool bit, and the old girlfriend's driving me down the road, and I'm bawling like I've never bawled before in my life. I'm in miserable pain, and I have to sit in the waiting room a good 45 minutes, and I'm shaking, I'm sobbing, I'm crying, I'm holding my face. There's nothing I can do. I go into the doctor's office. They finally call me back, and he just puts a needle in there and knocks it out, and he's like, "Hey, all right, so tell me what's going on." And it was like. Just like that. I'm like, okay, well, hey, look, he broke my tooth, and he said there's a piece still in it. Why did you let me wait in the waiting room for 45 minutes. Couldn't you have done that in the waiting room? I went up to the desk several times and said, is there anything you can give me? Can you do something? So that's the kind of trauma I'm bringing along with me here. So,
right?
Yeah.
And that's there are unfortunately lots of stories. You know, the other thing that's hard about the mouth, as I tend to find, is let's imagine it was your shoulder, your arm, your foot. You'd get something surgically done to it. They'd cut something, they'd use a tool, just like you were describing. And guess what? You'd have a cast, and you'd sit down, and you'd put your leg up, and you wouldn't use it. You wouldn't have to do anything. But the mouth, there's no way around it. One, there's no casting of what's in there.
Right.
Two, you gotta talk, you gotta eat, you gotta swallow. There's just no. You couldn't sit in that waiting room not knowing what was going on with your mouth.
Right.
You know, it's constantly there. So it's to do little surgery on people and then just kind of send you on your way and say, okay, go heal up. Mountains are hard like that.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, do you ever find yourself fixing other dentists' mistakes? Like, I mean,
I would, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, we're all humans. I would, you know, I beg to differ of any dentist that was kind of my senior years, meaning I've done this for 20 years. Boy, I see my mom's teeth, and there's still stuff in there I did in there 22 years ago in dental school that I still like. But that being said, dentistry even has gotten better and better to the point where half the time I think, gosh, could I just go back and see the first, you know, people I saw when I was 24 years old and do that better?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, but there's, you know, you got to have, I do believe that a good dentist, one really has a lot of self-awareness and wants perfection. And I like to sleep at night, so I better make sure I do a really good job so that when I go home, I can kind of leave it at work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will get me if I see it and I know I didn't do it right enough, or, you know, I need to do it again, or I need to do it better, or what can I do to make it the best.
Well, do they even do the metal fillings anymore? That metallic looking stuff?
I sure don't. No, I sure don't. I haven't in years. Other than there's a few times where I will donate my time, and there might be clinics where it's the less expensive items, so that might be all they've got on hand.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the standard of care at this point.
Yeah, I didn't think they did it anymore. I had that when I was a teenager with my bad cavity in the back. And there's a picture in high school that a girl took of me, and I'm laughing real out loud, and you can see that metal jigsaw in the back, and it's like, ugh.
Right?
Ugh.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I mean, they do the enamel thing. It all looks like a tooth. It looks normal. You know, you wouldn't even notice that my mouth was that, you know, wide, but you see that piece of metal. It's like, is that gum? What is that? Ugh. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and we did realize that they weren't, you know, there's a time and a place. Okay, so I'm going to back up. Silver fillings, I'm going to say this. Boy, are they nice and easy to put in the mouth. They seal up. They do their job. It could be wet in there. Composite, which are the white ones, they're a little harder. We got to have things dry. We want them to bond. So you got a medium level. You know, there's more problems as far as white fillings, as far as you've got to have really good technique. You've got to be a great dentist. You got to be able to fit in there. You got to be able to keep the patient dry and do all those things. That being said, silver fillings, we realized, you know, they tend to be cause fracture lines. Just metal free is the way to go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I remember being a kid and having those things, and if you chew on a gum wrapper that had metal in it, I mean, it felt like you were licking a battery. It was metallic tasting like a battery, because that metal and that metal would...
Oh, weird.
It would give you like a...
Oh, my.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Stuff you did as a kid in the 80s.
That's funny.
What he was doing, chewing on the wrapper or the metal, that's a whole nother discussion.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Right.
We'll have a shrink on next month.
Of how usually men are the ones on YouTube doing the things where they're like jumping off of strange things.
Exactly.
Yes.
They wonder why they die younger.
Yeah. We know staples are only meant to go in paper, not body parts, things like that.
I never did that. I was too scared of that. Hey, so talking about, I talked about my friend Scotty. He was the eye surgeon. He passed away. I have a friend of mine that is 80 years old, and he wanted to be a dentist. And I'm not trying to go negative. I just want to know an answer and see what you say about this. But he said that he went to dental school. He was all set. He was second year of dental school, and then ended up being a salesman, and he did great. He sold computers. He became a millionaire. He was awesome. But he said the reason he dropped out of dental school is because the suicide rate at that time for dentists was second in all professions in America or in the world or whatever. Airport command tower people were number one and dentists were number two, something like that. Have you ever heard anything like that before?
So I sure have. There was a whole bunch of studies back in the 1960s or papers that came out that went through kind of suicide rate and job profession. So I will tell you this, though. I'm going to get back to your suicide discussion. If you looked up kind of U.S. News and World Report as far as the best professions to have last year, I think the different areas of dentistry made like 2 or 3 out of the top 5.
Wow.
So meaning a general dentist, an oral surgeon, and an orthodontist, 3 of our kind of variances of dentistry were considered the top professions to have. So, but back to the suicide thing, I will say this, a couple things. I get asked it all the time. I just like a person that is an air traffic controller, people actually know exactly what happens to us in dentistry. So we all usually have a liability insurance. We've also got a disability insurance. And so if something were to happen to us, it would be logged, meaning that there are millions of, I don't know if millions is the right word, but there are a lot of undocumented suicides. And we don't know what their profession was or if there's any continuity to that.
Yeah.
We do know the continuity when it is in dentistry. That being said, I believe mental health in dentistry is incredibly important. We do have a challenging job. Our level of what is considered to be perfect is very challenging. We are expected to work every time to have something work and work right, meaning that when we get you numb, the patient expects to get numb every single time with the exact same amount in the exact same location. They should never have pain afterwards, that nothing should ever break or have to be redone. So our level of perfection is rough. It is, as a profession. And unfortunately, we get told all the time, everybody likes to say, I hate the dentist.
Right.
And I always say, well, you don't know me. How can you hate the dentist? You might hate dentistry, but you don't really know me enough to hate me. You haven't had a cup of coffee with me yet. If you have a cup of coffee and you know me for a few years and then you hate me, well, then there you go. So it is. I do believe that we, as far as a profession, there's not many movies out there that actually portray us in a good light, and that's one of the things that I'm really hoping this show will allow me to kind of embark on, is to show dentistry in a different side. My colleagues out there are just awesome, and dentists are super cool. We are just like everybody else. We're not the I hate the dentist, and we've been portrayed in movies far too long as these kind of stuffy old guys with shoes with the multicolors on it, and we come in and grouchy and put our white coat on and cause you pain and stick you with needles.
Right. Yeah. I've seen that movie. That's a scary movie.
Right?
Yeah, that's a scary movie.
Goodness.
So I'm hoping that we get to be portrayed a little bit more as far as what we're really trying to do, which is make the best out of a no fun situation, inspiring people to smile, letting them really see where our hearts are and what we're trying to get accomplished for people. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think that'll be good. It might help some people like Wes relax when they go to the dental office.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that would be a good thing. So you're not all tense when you leave. He doesn't know what to say.
I don't know what to say. I don't know if I said it on the air or if I told you before we filmed, but, I'm sitting there in the chair, white-knuckled, and my butt cheeks are clenched so much. The lady laughed at me. She said, everything okay? Everything good? I said, yeah, I can't walk. She said, what's the matter? I said, well, I clenched my butt cheeks for 45 minutes very hard, and I think my butt went to sleep. Yeah, I'm anticipating. I'm waiting for the pain.
It is the anticipation of waiting for something to go wrong or to hurt.
Yep.
And the hardest, imagine this. Imagine your mouth is something that honestly, it's not your hands. It's not everybody sees them, not everybody holds them. It is something where it's vital for you to eat, smile. The only person that putting their hands in there is you while you're putting your food in your mouth. And it's intimate. It's how if somebody were to kiss somebody. I mean, it's definitely a very personal space, and somebody's diving in there with two hands to fix a very tiny object that doesn't feel good if it's not numb. So it's a lot. It is. I mean, I have a lot of respect for people that can kind of pass off okay, I'm going to be okay. She's going to take good care of me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in there. I'm going to my appointments and do what I'm supposed to do. I'm just, I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. But like I said, the past 6 times it's been fine. They haven't hurt me. I got a question. I had there's a duct underneath your tongue, or maybe underneath your tongue, a saliva duct, and those teeth, those bottom little tiny teeth in the front. I had a calcium buildup, and she said it's coming from that duct, and I'm supposed to brush my teeth without toothpaste first, but I can feel the buildup.
Yeah.
And can you see that type of thing when people can feel it with their tongue?
100%.
You can see it?
Absolutely. 100%.
Is there things that people can feel with their tongue that you can't see? I guess that's what I'm getting at. Because sometimes they get in there with their scrapers and then they feel it, but is it always seen with the eyeball?
If we so let me back up. If we are able to dry it off, we will see that it has a different texture and a different color than your tooth does.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we will see the material, absolutely. So even if now that I say that, let's have everybody that listens to this podcast go get themselves in front of a mirror and kind of just open their mouth and kind of suck in the air as much as they can to where their teeth are dried off and look in between them. And they will notice that it looks a little bit more yellow. Also, when you put the floss in between the lower front teeth, if you actually put that floss right up against the tooth structure and kind of scrape it up and down, as we hope you do, you'll feel that the texture is different and that those little kind of barnacles, for lack of a better word, they are not smooth. Okay. So that's kind of a high sign of, I probably need to get to my dentist if I'm, not everybody needs to go. Not everybody can make it a whole 6 months. There's tons of people out there that need to go every 4 months because that buildup is just a lot more on those lower front teeth. The inside is much more common for a few reasons. One, just like you were being told about the salivary duct flow. Also, the tongue covers the teeth when we rinse our mouth, when we drink water, things like that. The tongue usually is covering, so nothing's really rinsing off that area to get it clean.
Okay.
And when we're chewing and functioning, kind of plaque and stuff gets stuck there. And then the toothbrush is usually too big to fit down around those skinny little teeth. So you got to turn your toothbrush sideways or kind of up and down instead of horizontal. Turn it vertical so you're using the skinny end of your toothbrush and get it back on the inside.
So would Listerine or mouthwash of any kind help with that, what he was talking about? Or is that just something that happens?
Mouthwash in general, I do love a good mouthwash. I do believe just the act of actually moving fluid around the teeth is going to help. Definitely brushing is number one, and flossing. Right. But a good oral rinse is helpful, and there's a lot of great oral rinses out there now that are not, I'm not going to say Listerine's the bad one, but I'm also going to tell you that there's a lot of good ones that are not alcohol-based, so they're not drying, and they actually work to combat all the acidity that's in our food, because what we're finding is that a lot of our foods that are acidic are really wearing down our tooth structure, so we need our mouth to be more in a basic state versus an acidic state.
Okay. So are you saying Listerine has more is Listerine more acidic?
I'm loving it.
Listerine is an alcohol-based oral rinse. So meaning it can be very drying. So there's sometimes people that get really attached to a Listerine and they will use it multiple times a day, and we'll find that the tissue, like on their cheeks, their tongue, will look abraded, like it's been kind of scratched out or marred on the surface.
Oh, goodness.
And it's losing some of its, we need saliva in our mouth. We need our mouth to be very liquidy in order to help the teeth stay really strong.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So I like those little flossers. I have them in my Magic Van. I have at my desk. I have them upstairs. Can you floss too much? If you just get in the habit of just playing around with the flossers?
So,
I mean, I can imagine that being bad for your gums after a while.
I mean, only if you're going at the wrong angles and you're really kind of scratching at the surface of the root of the tooth, or if there's already breakdown of the root.
No.
Then I wouldn't want someone to sit there, because have I seen damage of somebody with a toothpick that's literally worn a groove of where they keep pushing that toothpick, or they wear it in between their teeth and they just sit around watching TV? Yes, I have.
No, these are those little flosser sticks. Some flossing.
Yeah,
I'm not picking.
I do like the floss sticks. I think they're real helpful.
Okay.
I think any dentist is going to tell you we love Truly Floss because, like a real string of floss, because you can adapt it to the tooth better. That being said, I always tell people whatever you need that floss to look like, feel like, do. If you need your toothbrush to sing songs to you, spin in circles, give you timers, whatever you need to do it, you do it. Because
that's
once
me.
you find something you like, you will use it. If you don't like it, you won't. Floss these days is amazing. It can be like, wine tasting or getting, tequila tasting. You find one you like and you will use it. They have flavors and textures and floss picks. So, there's something out there for everybody.
Well, when you said use regular floss, Natalie's shaking her head like, yeah, I got the winner. And then you're like, you can also use the picks, it's fine. And then I'm like, yeah, you see, told you. But see, the last time I was at the dentist, they gave me a little to-go package and everything. And they're like, what flavor toothpaste do you want? Do you want wintergreen, mint, or bubble gum? And then they said bubble gum like as an aside, like, yeah, that's for little kids. I'm like, I'll take bubble gum. I'm a big kid, Sarah.
They don't
I'm
give
a big
me a
kid.
choice. They just give me mint. Man.
I go for bubble gum every time.
Hey, I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Do you tell your patients, would you prefer them to have those electric toothbrushes, or is manual good enough? What is?
It depends on, okay, great question. So this is going to back up to a couple things. I always have questions. I'm a scientist. I can't just give a straightforward answer. I love a rotary toothbrush, but it's got to be a rotary toothbrush, meaning an electric toothbrush, that is a more up-to-date one. It's got to have soft bristles on it, and ideally a timer, and also something that will slow if you push too hard. Because we do have patients that overbrush in the world. They think they are cleaning tile. The stuff that gets on teeth is like a milk-like substance for 24 hours. So it does not calcify or begin that process for about 24 hours. So you get twice, if you brush your teeth in the morning and night, to get off that milky substance before it starts to kind of get harder and harder. So I love a rotary toothbrush because, one, it usually has a timer, and if you actually get one and it goes for 2 minutes, you'll be like, oops, I never brushed my teeth for 2 minutes ever in my whole life until you actually put a timer on.
Yeah.
And it does give a little bit more aggressive of a cleaning, meaning that vibration, whether it is oscillating or it's like a Sonicare and it's giving off a kind of an ultrasonic vibration to kind of jiggle off what we call biofilm. That being said, I also love a handheld toothbrush, but it's got to be a good one. It needs to be soft. People think they need a hard toothbrush. Again, the stuff you're cleaning off your teeth should be like you're wiping off milk off your tooth structure.
Okay.
It should not have to be scrubbed.
That's good to know. Yeah, I've always stuck with a manual toothbrush. I don't know why. I've never got on the electric train. I don't know. But I like the soft ones. Wes is he'll try a new toothbrush that I picked up. He's like, "Is this soft?" I'm like, "Look at the box. It says soft." So sensitive.
Right.
When you brush your teeth every day with a toothbrush.
Whatever you'll put in there, whatever
Right.
you'll put in your mouth is my favorite one.
Okay.
That seems to be my answer to people, because it's far more important that you use it than which one it is or what one it is.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, she doesn't
Yeah.
care about brands. She just goes and gets whatever, and you use your toothbrush for a month, and then she changes it out for a new one. And if the bristles are different type of bristles, I mean, you notice right away. It's not it's shock. So I'm like, what did you do? What is this?
It's what they had available, and it was soft.
So
Yeah.
this interview, I mean, we're already 45 minutes in. This is flying by. I had Tom Julian, the owner of JUL-TV, on here, and it was like pulling teeth. So you've already done way better than Tom. Tom was awesome. It was a great interview, but man, he was 30 minutes in. He's like, all right, what else you want? What else you want to know?
Well, I will tell you this. Whenever anybody says it's like pulling teeth, I always say, no, actually, pulling teeth can be actually pretty darn easy. So, yeah, and that usually takes about 5 minutes. So this took 45. So I think already it's not quite pulling teeth.
Well, we're doing great. We're doing good.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very easy to talk to you.
This was that was definitely pun intended as well. So tell me about your show. Tell me about Dr. Sarah.
Okay, so Dr. Sarah, I was approached to do this show and to kind of convey my world and my life, and most of which will be revolved around kind of me being a dentist, inspiring people to smile, but at the same point, it will show and kind of showcase some of my favorite things in life, which is, one, healthy lifestyles, mentally and physically. I'm a big believer in, not only with your teeth and your smile, but your whole body, trying to treat it the best that you can so that you can live a long, comfortable life. So it will go over things like health and wellness. I've got a great friend that's going to be on the show. She's going to kind of show us a few of my favorite things to even cook, and also show my family life. I've got 2 children. I am a single mom of 2 kids, full-time, and they are wonderful young ladies, and kind of just showcase real life, what goes on in a normal, person's world in California, and how I juggle owning a business, inspiring people to smile, and then also going through some of my favorite philanthropies, me kind of interviewing and showcasing how other people make people smile through their philanthropies. So it's got a little bit for everybody. Hopefully it will be nice and entertaining. So there you have it.
Nice.
Are you doing a 16 episode run to start?
So, we have a few of them lined up. I think we're going to start off with 5, and we're going to head from there and see what kind of unfolds.
Okay.
See what becomes of entertainment as to, dentistry for a lot of people is entertaining, to see what I do as far as changing people's smiles. Like I was telling you, there's lots of times somebody will sit in my chair, and whether or not they were a abuse victim, whether or not there was something that went on as a child, whether or not they're just kind of trying to reclaim their life, the smile is super important. So we will kind of go through that portion of the story as well, as far as how we're able to change people, literally, physically, change their smile. So yeah, it's going to have a lot of good stuff in it.
I don't know if you know this or not, and I was never a fan of the show, so I'm just hearing it. I'm piecing things together. Wasn't there a smile, like a makeover show where people got like cosmetic surgery and got their teeth done and all that? Did you ever watch that? I bet the teeth thing, just made a world of difference.
I used to love Extreme Makeover. You know what was interesting, and what everybody would say to me when that show was really popular, that although the people, got their hair done and they had plastic surgery and they had their clothes, the item that changed their whole look was the teeth.
Yeah. I mean, if they have mangled teeth and you give them a nice smile, it makes them feel like $1 million too.
Absolutely. definitely. So, I tend to tell people that I fix the teeth so the person can actually be smiling. I'm not actually fixing the smile. The smile is something that when you enjoy your teeth and you know they look good and they feel good and they don't hurt you, a smile is not just the teeth. It's the way the face moves and the eyes glisten and the head tilts. But people don't do that when they don't like their teeth.
Right.
Yeah. So there's times, there's been times over my life where, I'll have a gentleman who's got a great big mustache and beard and, they seem kind of gruff and they're just kind of like moving through life. And I change their smile or give them back that function. And they'll show up in my office with everything shaved off their face. I won't even know who they are anymore. And
nice.
They're just beaming because
they feel pretty again. Yeah, they feel.
They hit it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
And that's crazy to hide your smile. I mean, of all things, I think we all need to smile a little more in life. So.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So, do you have I don't know where your office, Solana Beach. Do you have any celebrity patients? Are you able to say that if you did? Or dentists allowed to say that?
I don't think I'm really allowed to say that, but I've got a few of them, and definitely some over my 20 years that have some pretty great smiles.
Yeah, I didn't know if you could say that or not.
Well, I would think she'd be able to say yes, but just not who.
Yeah, there's sometimes where I'll have somebody who will be, let's say, an influencer on, Instagram or through whatever their platform is, and they will want to share their story. And that's pretty cool when they do, because then they get to inspire, maybe they're taking it to the next 60,000 people in the world, and they're inspiring them to smile and them to enjoy their smile, and them not to be nervous about dentistry. And that's what's really neat. And I will say one of the things that I love about my profession is all of my dental colleagues, we are in it for each other. I on my Instagram, I could say, hey, who's got a dentist in the middle of Kentucky or North Carolina? And one of my friends would answer, and one of them would find somebody. We're all wanting the best for people. We're not fighting to have the best product, if that makes sense. Our product is people being happy and smiling, and we're all on the same team. So it's pretty cool to have colleagues like that, where you can call up and say, hey, I tried this and I didn't like it. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. That is great.
Yeah, you've just changed my mind completely.
We're not selling socks here, so it's not like I'm selling socks and I don't want somebody else to make better socks.
Yeah.
We're all dentists wanting the best for other people, so we're kind of which makes a really great community of other dentists wanting to be better and better and better.
Yeah, me going to the dentist, when that appointment shows up on my calendar, I mean, it is, I don't know. I mean, at some points of my life since I've been with Natalie, I'd rather you cut my toe off and just let me skip that one appointment. But, I mean...
So see, now that we've had this conversation, do you
I
feel
really,
a little bit better about it?
I really do. I honestly do.
Yeah.
I really do.
That's
Because...
what I want to hear.
Because, I mean, if I think about it, my past 6 appointments haven't been that bad. Just because I had stuff in the past and, I don't know. Yeah. You're awesome, Dr. Sarah.
I tend to tease people. I go like, would you go to the grocery store and be like, you know what? My day was better before I got here. Like,
Well, the grocery store's never hurt me.
well, that's
If I got hit in the parking lot, I'd be afraid to cross that parking lot every time I went there, maybe. Hey,
Good
thank you.
point.
Thank
Good
you for
point.
everything. You were awesome.
This was so much fun.
Website.
Much fun.
Say your website for me.
So I am Sarah Belderes, DDS.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Sarah Belderes, DDS. And if you follow me along on Instagram, you'll see me out there fixing teeth. I try to teach a few things so people can kind of learn a little bit more about their smiles, what to expect. They live in a day in the life of me with my daughters dancing and having a blast in life. So
nice.
It's a good time.
Spell Belderes for me. S-A-R-A-H.
Okay. Yes, last name is B as in boy, E-L, D as in dog, E-R-E-S as in Sarah.
And then D-D-S. Well,
You got it.
we're going to follow you right after this is over.
Yeah.
Sarah, you were
Yay.
awesome. When does your show start on JUL-TV? Do you have any production
Great
dates or
question.
anything?
So we are still in the process of doing all of our filming, so I don't have an exact live date, but I'm sure I will put it all over Instagram, and we will be taking over the world and sharing what dentistry is all about.
Well, how about this? When you have it, let me know, and I'll tweet it and let everybody know. And also, heck, we'll have you come back on, and you can help promote it again.
I would love that. It sounds like a great plan.
All right. Well, stay on the line real quick. We have a couple plugs, and then we'll wrap everything up. Stay on the line for me,
You got
Sarah.
it.
Thank you so much. We are closing in on year 1 of our podcast, and to help celebrate this milestone, we're having a contest. Go to wesisley.com and enter the inquiry form, and let us know what your favorite episode is. There's no wrong answers. Several winners will be chosen at random. Thanks to Express Copy and Graphics, we'll be giving away t-shirts, logo stickers, and our new Magic Man hats. Contest ends on July 7th. And tonight on JUL-TV, they're airing episode 13 from season 2 called The Twins Are Here. Finally, Natalie gives birth. We don't show that on video,
No.
but we show her holding the camera and getting
Leading
wheeled
up
in.
to and afterwards, yes.
Getting wheeled in on the wheelchair and all that. It was intense. It's fun. I just watched it again today. Check it out. JUL-TV's on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, the JUL-TV app, and tons of other places. It's in over 100 million households. All you have to do is look for it. See you next week. Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Express Copy and Graphics. Mention promo code Wes Iseli to get 10% off. Their website is expresscopy.com. That's XPRESS-COPY.com. They do it all. Copies, banners, signs, vehicle wraps, promo items, practically anything you need printed, they can do it for you. These guys are great. Check them out. Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Iseli for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled WESISELI.